Hello guys and gals, welcome back this week to another episode of Haunted Gaming. This time, thanks to Democracy again, we're doing April 2013's Creepypasta of the month called The Cosmic Destroyer. Now I'm going to do this creepypasta word for word. The reason for that being is it's actually meant to be read word for word, and it has this log stardate format that we've seen a couple times before. So without saying too much, let's go into the Cosmic Destroyer. There will be cuts in between to notify each stardate, so let's go on. Our frigate has safely arrived at the chosen planet. Their technology is primitive, and thus they fail to detect us entering the atmosphere. We are currently cloaked above their planet, known locally as Earth. We will begin the search on 7th July 1909, Earth time. The search was a success. The scout ship found and abducted the perfect specimens for the task. 2 human beings, middle-aged, 1 male, 1 female. The male was more resilient and protective of the female. We assumed they're mates. We will introduce them to the prince once they have calmed down from their ordeal. It seems the female subject and the infant prince have developed a bond. We place the subjects in the prince's quarters to see how they would react to each other. It was the male who first noticed the prince sleeping soundly in his cot. The male told the female, referring to her as Maria, who seemed to be amazed at the young prince. After a while of studying him, the prince awoke to the face of the female subject. They stared at each other for a while, until the female stroked the prince's face. The prince gurgled happily, and held the female's hand. The male seemed uneasy about developing a bond, but the female was reassured, referring to the male as George. The male was soon won over, and the subjects began taking care of the infant prince, and after about 300 ticks, the subjects were removed and taken back to their cells. We are assured that they will raise the prince well. We have had no need to report on the welfare of the prince and the subjects for a while now, due to his raising seemingly going smoothly, but it seems things were not going as well as we had hoped. First of all, the male subject has escaped. We are as of now unsure how he escaped and where he went, though we have a fairly good idea he attempted to return to Earth. The monks are looking into this case. Secondly, the prince's upbringing has been deemed a failure. The male and the female subjects appear to have been raising him as our own, not as an outsider. Due to this, he has developed an emotion we thought we had long been rid of: care. The female subject was too kind on him. We heard her singing a sort of lullaby to calm the prince down and get him to sleep. Contact between the prince and the female has been broken. We will most likely never have a need for her again. Thirdly, the prince seems to have learnt the language of the subjects, English, a human language. We have forbid him from ever speaking in their tongue. We have, however, learnt some useful information from the female subject. Due to her teachings of English to the prince, they were able to have some kind of communication. The prince told the female subject about his sleep terrors. He claimed he could see a vortex, and in the center of this vortex there appeared to be a group of beings. The prince claims they were human, though the subjects may have clouded his vision with their humanization. The shapes, he claims, are robotic in shape, which contradicts the shape possibly being human. However, he swears that 3 sound like males and 1 female. The female sounds like she is crying, and while a repeated phrase from the male is shouted, followed by some other unidentifiable phrase. More information is needed from the prince. Our investigation continues. We have made a breakthrough in the disappearance of the male subject and the prince's sleep terrors. It appears that, without our permission, the male subject was studying our psychic powers. The female subject claims she knew nothing of our powers, or of her mate studying them. We do not trust her at all anymore. But if she can aid us in the prince's sleep terrors, we may pardon her, and allow her to return back to Earth. On the subject of the sleep terrors, we have identified the beings in this dream. 2 are of no significance. However, the female and male appear to be highly skilled in psychic powers, similar to adolescents of our race. We believe them to be descendants of the escaped male subject, though confirmations are few and far between. After some research into the sleep terror, we have a theory. Many races came to the birth of the prince. Many left gifts. Some we are still unsure of what exactly they are, but it could be possible that one of these races left behind what we believe is called the Opal of Enlightenment as a gift. The Opal, as it's rumored, has the ability for its user to see into the future. It is possible that the prince is witnessing an assault on Earth by his future self? At the moment, the theory is a simple speculation. As of the vortex, we doubt we will ever discover what it is. Another dimension, possibly. The prince is still being questioned. The theory was correct. Impossibly, we have located the Opal of Enlightenment. It was hidden in one of the prince's favorite playthings. Strangely, it looks nothing like an opal. It is more of a sphere, with a strange light inside. It has been confiscated, and there is, as of yet, an unofficial experiment being conducted on it. The Opal of Enlightenment has been an asset during the research going into it. During the experiments, we were able to predict what events will occur, when and where. Because of the Opal's power, no one other than the Discovery team and the experiment team will know of its existence, bar some exceptions. The prince's therapy has been going well. He has lost feelings for the subjects, and he seems to have lost the ability to speak in human tongue. The female subject will be disposed of quietly. She has outlived her usefulness. The day has finally arrived. The prince has come far since he was a youngling. The therapy and strict training mostly helped. I'm sure the king and queen would be proud of him. Today the prince will begin his assault on Earth. It's been a while since we've ever mentioned Earth and the humans around him, in case something, resurfaced. He now has a feeling of hatred towards all other inferior species, but mainly humans. Soon, they will be no more. The prince has decided to take his best army of starmen with him, to eradicate the human scum. Today is the day every universe will remember. The day that Prince Gygas, the cosmic destroyer, took out his first planet, Earth and all its inhabitants. Hail, Prince Gygas. Well, how's that for a mindfuck creepypasta? I believe this is the third Earthbound creepypasta we've done, minus the Earthbound abortion theory, which was just a theory. This again, like Happiness for Sale, is similar in the sense that it covers the backstory of a certain character. In this case, it's Gygas, the cosmic destroyer, and in Happiness for Sale's case, it's the Happy Math Salesman, and then yes, other creepypastas do this as well. Now, the only Earthbound game I've really ever played is Earthbound on the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, and I never really played the prequel and the sequel to the game, so the mindfuck effect wasn't really that impacting on me. But as I read it, the story did make sense, even to a person not really fluent with the franchise, which I really like. As far as how creepy it was, not really. The tone of the logs did have this latent cryptic feel to it, but it wasn't, too creepy as it was interesting. Now looking back at it, and the mindfuck aspect, it definitely does serve its purpose, but it feels quite revealing at times. The star dates were a nice touch. At first, you think it's about the Star Trek game on the NES, or any other Star Trek game, but then you see the references such as George and Maria, and then you see Opal of Enlightenment, which sounds like Apple of Enlightenment, the fruit that allows Gygas to see into the future, and then the references to the Starmen, and finally the mention of Gygas itself, which, is intended to be there. It could have been better with less references to the series itself. I mean, these were pretty direct references, and like I said, I didn't really play Earthbound Zero, but I still managed to somewhat figure this out halfway into it, so it should technically be very easy for someone who has played the game. But the story is well told, it was cryptic. Granted, the creep factor wasn't really high, in my opinion, but it was interesting as backstory for Gygas. And that's really all that needs to be said. It's a nice creepypasta, not necessarily creepy as it was interesting, and yes, it felt cryptic, which I guess you could sort of say added to the creepiness a lot, but, for a mindfuck creepypasta, again, it could do with less direct referencing, but it's nowhere near as bad as some others, and it does its job quite well. And that's really all that has to be said. This has been another episode of Haunted Gaming, and if you like what you saw, then like, comment, and subscribe. This is me, Mudahar, and I'm out.